Hello, YouTube. I'm looking forward to going homeless. I'm looking forward to going homeless. Isn't that sound kind of strange? So no one's here, but I think I'm just gonna start talking and see if some people arrive. So, my only experience with being homeless was started, I guess, January, February, March of 2022. And it was a decision. It was a good decision. What's up, process? And I did it for 6 months. And it was really, really great. I did really kind of limited food, so I didn't have to come down to town. I would only come down to town on Sunday. So I would come down to town on Sunday for church, stock up with some ice and some food, and then go back up for a week. Yeah, right. I like that. Never homeless in the house of the Lord. People are here. So it was a really, really beautiful spot. And it was a campground, official campground, where you had your official fire pit. And there was a spring up on the mountain that created this nice little river that ran right by. So you drive in the spot here, and camp spots would start being here, and it'd do a big loop. And then all the spots coming back towards the single lane was adjacent to the little creek. And I'd have my water pump. So it was right there, the creek, and just pump my water. And I wasn't worried about health that much back then. So I pretty much mainly just ate a couple little bags of Quaker oatmeal for breakfast, like with some bananas or blueberries on top. And then for dinner, I would just literally have just a top ramen with some like bell peppers, onions chopped up and put in there with some chicken. And it was wonderful. It's pretty much feels like the closest and the most consistently close I was to the Lord for that whole 6 months. I mean, I would leave. I wasn't up there totally. Like, my daughter graduated college from San Diego State University at that time, and I drove down to San Diego. I spent some time camping at my favorite surf spot, County Line. That's between Los Angeles and Ventura, right where they meet, and would eat at Neptune's Net and surf County Line. And I would spend some time. I would periodically go back down to San Pedro. I just love the coastline of San Pedro, where I lived for 3 years before I decided to just spend some time, living out of the truck and camping. So I'm gonna be doing that again, and I'm really looking forward to it because I just can't get an apartment without being gang stalked. And that's why I was so excited when I was about 51, 52 maybe, to be able to rent a house in that house in San Pedro. Because I thought for once I wouldn't have someone above me or beside me or beneath me that was just pinned 24/7 on me. And it gets so irritating, to just like have someone so pinned, all of their day, all of their focus, everything's on you, you know? Like, for instance, this guy I have now, it's like almost every time I open my front door, he opens his and jumps out. It's just a little ploy, a little tactic to, say, I'm not only watching you when you're in your place, and I only follow you everywhere you go in your place, but even when you leave, I jump out too, and then you feel that energy on like the back of your head and your back as you walk away. That negative, pissed off, angry, gang stalker energy. um, so, the only thing I'm thinking about that'll be lame is if someone pulls up, I'm going to be like out in the middle of nowhere and I can see someone pulling up and trying to set up a camp right next to me. And at that point, because it takes a while to set up camp. And if someone does that at that point, I'm going to be like, right when they turn their car off, I'm going to be like, hey, man, there's hundreds and hundreds of acres. This is my spot, you know? And if they say, well, no, it's Bureau of Land Management, it's BLM land, I can camp anywhere I want. It's like, yeah, but why would you want to camp right next to me? Why not afford yourself a little bit of privacy? Just go like 100 yards down the road. So, I'm not looking forward to that because, it could be a gang stalker that wants to set up camp right next to you, start making noises all night long, start, trying to become friendly and then asking weird questions and, just trying to make you feel uncomfortable and trying to maybe even insinuate that there might be problems between the two of you. I was like, man, I'm out in the middle of nowhere. I don't need anyone to pull up next to me. It's like I watch this one woman on YouTube occasionally, and she talks about how when she was living out of her RV, traveling the country, and she'd sleep in Walmarts most frequently. And sometimes when you're in a Walmart, a huge semi will pull up right next to you, and they'll let the engine roll all night long. And they've got a lot of lights. So now you've got this huge vehicle like towering over you with lights, and the engine's running all night long. That would be pretty irritating. But then the heavy spirits moved on you. Then people started fooling with your bike. Well, no, that was all before I went homeless. That's the reason why I went homeless. That was the most crazy experience, those 3 years. And it just goes to show you that I think most of these people that are totally pinned on you, and it's like you're their livelihood, you're their hobby, you're their number one area of interest more than current events or anything else, and you're their everything. And it's like, ew, it's like sticky glue on you. It's like, get off of me, man. You had to move on. Christ is King. Amen. The King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. I love how when you write that, King, the first king is capital and the second king is lowercase, and then the first L of Lord is capital and the second one is lowercase. Your future is spreading the word. Can't hit a moving target. I like that. That I even like more the one that goes a rolling stone gathers no moss. You say people, but we really know it is one individual, Satan. Yep. RV folks get gang stalked the most. I know. Why is that? And so, Mike, tell me, am I making a bad decision? Because I've got serious debt and I cannot stay here. That's out of the option. And I can't afford to move into a new place either. And so maybe just move a ways away. I don't know. I think I'm just there's so many areas that I've wanted that are beautiful. I mean, where I live, there's just trails through these beautiful mountains everywhere. And you're pretty much allowed to just drive anywhere you want and camp because it's primarily BLM land. And you're allowed to have fires. And I could just have so much fun just exploring, but then I know I would end up spending too much money on gas. But like just move like once every week or two. And then that's when I invest, like 2-3 hours just exploring and looking for a really, really nice spot. And I know I could find some beautiful spots by lakes, overlooking maybe a nice area with a nice view. I know I could find the most beautiful areas. But even when I was up, I camped a little bit in the BLM over by in this area, and I met this guy that said the cops treated him really, really bad. Um, they came up on him, and he had gone like just a few hours over 14 days. You have to move every 14 days. And it was cops, and they were so rude to him. And then they said, because you disobeyed the law, we get to search your vehicle. What? And then they asked while they were searching, they said, do you have any marijuana or drugs? And he said, yeah, I have a little bag of marijuana. And they poured it out on the ground and then took their shoe and ground it into the ground. It's like, that's legal. You're allowed to buy marijuana. It's like, so I don't know what to think, you know? When you try to break free, it pulls you back. Explain, brother. Please write a book about your faith and use grants and loans to pay the way. Use a phone to dictate while you hike. The book Beyond the Trap. The traps they build for you, they fall in themselves. Mike, I don't know why, but they keep those areas protected from the public. Well, you know, there is some areas I know of where it's full of RVs. I mean, like, you know, like maybe every 15 yards, there's another RV. And so I guess that could be kind of nice because then you feel a little bit safe. But it would be a lot of families, I'm sure. And so it would be a lot of noise. But, you know, most families would be tucked in by 10, I would think. So, you know, life's an adventure. I like the analogy that I heard in church one Sunday, and that was that, you know, like right now it's dark, right? And you could be driving on one of these highways, like Lake Mary Road, no lights. And we are way up in the mountains. And that's why we got the observatory up here that found Mars, because it's very, very little light, you know, because it's a pretty small city. So when you're driving very far from the city out in the middle of this little, you know, 2-lane highway that people drive like 80 miles an hour on during the day, there's no lights. So all you can see as you're driving down the road is like as far as your headlights go, which, you know, is somewhere between 20 and 40 feet. But in the same way though, you're going to end up getting to your destination. And so it's like you can't really see where you're going except for just a little bit in front of you, but you still end up making the hour and a half drive and getting to your destination. And that's kind of the way life is, right? Because we kind of know where we're going. We can see a little bit in front of us, unlike what's coming down the pike, you know, just for like a little bit, a week or two in front of us. But basically, the future is unknown, right? Because anything could take place, anything could transpire that ends up changing, drastically changing any plans you've made. That's why I always loved Vin Scully, which was the announcer for the Dodgers my entire life up until, you know, what, like 10 years ago. And he always said, God willing, anytime he referred to the future. And that's even biblical, right? You never know. They're saying, hey, we'll go in this town in the Bible and we'll go into, I think it was Nineveh, and we'll make a bunch of good money. And then once we make all that money, we'll come back here. And it's like, you know, you don't know that you're going to be able to do all this. So when you talk like that, you have to say, well, God willing, you know, we could go to Nineveh for 2 weeks and make a boatload of money and then come on home with that, God willing. You know, it's such a valuable little expression. Uh, Well, thanks for asking, Alex. Last night was the worst, and I had someone make I only made like a 2 minute and 38 second video on how I suffered really at the hands of this dew last night. And all day long, my muscle's been quivering, like this neck muscle, and I felt kind of sick all day. So yeah, last night was by far the hardest because I don't know how many of you saw that video where I said you could walk around naked and kind of do weird things right in front of the camera as you're going, like pick your nose or burp. Um, and that's what I did for a couple days when I was preparing my meals. I just closed the blinds and I just walked around naked. And it's my phone. I was watching YouTube videos. It was set on a table that's around my mid waist. So sometimes my mid area would end up kind of in front of the camera. And um, I've been paying for that ever since. I guess they really feel insulted. And so last night was the by far the worst. I'd wake up several times just like with my whole body vibrating, and I'm like on fire and I have a headache. And this guy made like this gosh, it was like over 15-minute video just going off on me, just saying you don't trust the Lord. You know, I know my Lord would not let me go through that, and just was like really, really like really irritated with me. Oh, that's not good. Um, darn, I think I have a light here. Hang on. Yeah, here we go. The light's not working. Oh, there we go. All right. Well, I saw the notification and I got worried. Oh, I don't feel very safe at home because the number of people that are trying to get me to react out of character so that they could say he did this and this guy is my witness and blah 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 blah. And I know that they don't want me to move out because they're all working together to take me down. And they know I told them I'm moving out when my lease is up. And so they know it's like the devil, right? He knows his time is short. And so when people, toxic or not toxic or Satan, when they know their time's short, they're gonna resort to drastic measures. And so, yeah, I'm just trying to stay prayed up and trying. No, I'm not at home. I'm in my car, and I got my sleeping bag because I don't know how much damage I'm doing to my body. Like if it's microwaves, there could be long term effects from that. You know, Saint Francis of Assisi really kind of tortured his body by never dressing appropriately for the cold, just like walking around barefoot all the time and doing these long, heavy fasts and not giving himself enough sleep. So he kind of died young, and it was on his deathbed that he said he wished he didn't treat his body so rough and kind of irrespective of this, meeting the needs of this biological entity that we have that we're responsible for. So a lot of people kind of will say, well, you don't need to worry about anything because you have the Lord. And it's like, well, the Lord kind of sometimes lets our bodies suffer due to the circumstances that we're subjecting it to, I think. Good day, mate. Good day, mate. How's it going? DHFH. Let the Lord take the wheel. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it, and it's an adventure. And like I said, I grew so close to the Lord because I'd have a routine of prayers and scripture time, and you're all alone in the middle of nowhere, so you just kind of make a routine for yourself and just make every day based around this routine of walks with the dog, prayer time, scripture time, preparing meal time, so on and so forth. And I know where they hand out free food. So once a week, I'll come into town for church, just like I did when I was living up in the mountains in above Ojai in Ventura. And when I come into town for church, then I'll spend a night in town, and the next morning I'll go get some of that free food and rush it back up to a campsite. And then every 2 weeks, get to have a lot of fun looking for a new spot. Yeah, I have a dog. You want to see the dog? He's sleeping. How's he sleeping? He likes to sleep. So I just wanted to make a quick video to say hi. I don't think I'm going to keep it going much longer, but I was kind of hoping someone could tell me from experience that's been gang stalked how their experience was living out of the back of their car. Because I hear kind of a lot of horror stories, but I don't think it could be that bad if you're really, really going far out of your way to live in the middle of nowhere. I mean, they've got to drive all that way, and then you're all alone. So if they pull right up on you and expect to camp right next to you when there's literally miles around you with no one, you're all alone. I can find places like that. And if they come up on me when I'm the only guy for miles around and they're going to want to camp right next to me, I'm going to say no. I'm going to say, at least move where if you make a lot of noise, I don't have to hear you. I've spent a lot of time and effort to get out in the middle of nowhere so that I could have total peace and privacy and do me that solid, brother. Get lost. Carl Jung and Junvalo Melchizedek suggest humans can evolve by integrating their suppressed shadow self to reach a higher consciousness, symbolized by having 48 chromosomes. Well, I'll have to research that and get back to your process. Like primates, moving from a disharmonious state to a more unified, evolved being, its concept of personal evolution through confronting hidden fears and patterns to become more whole. Yeah, I don't have fears. I've kind of ever since I was a kid and I was afraid of the dark and I overcame that. I've never really had too much fear. You are better off in a populated area. Yeah. Well, I've got firearms, so if it came down to it, I might be the one that comes out on top. Bingo, you got your man if that happens. What do you mean? DHFS, you got your man if that happens. Oh, yeah, my lord. Alex, I'm praying for you, my brother. Yeah, me too. I really hope I make it to this end of lease date, and I really hope things go well living in the woods. I'm going to buy a nicer tent. I have little like 3-man tents. I'm going to get like a nice big tent where I can stand up in it. And I've got some AstroTurf that I can roll out in front of the tent. I've got a tarp that I can tie to trees to put up over the tent. I mean, there's so much hunting grounds up here. There's just miles and miles and miles that are reserved for hunters. And so, you've got that, you've got the BLM land. I hope you had a reasonable birthday despite the circumstances. Yeah, I tried to get everyone to start the fast with me, but I only got one person that said, "Oh, I guess I'll do it." I was like, where's the enthusiasm? So, and I realized that's not the best day to start your fast on your birthday. So I went and had a great birthday. I've been spending money I don't have on credit cards all day long and enjoying the heck out of myself. Ate a lot of good food, but I am starting my fast tomorrow. That's and for anyone that's interested, and it's going to be a 3 day fast, which will be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday I don't eat red meat or pork, and so I'll be still kind of having a fast on Friday. Mainly eating like chicken and salads, and then I'm gonna try to one do the one meal a day. Um, what do they call it? One meal a day. OMAD. I'm sorry I missed your birthday, brother. Oh, that's okay, Alex. If something happens, there'll be no witnesses. That's why it's better to be near a populated area. Yeah, I know of a lot of areas, like I was saying, where there's like RVs like every 15 yards. And so I might start off in those areas to feel safe. But if you go to the middle of nowhere and someone pulls up on you and you're loaded with a semi automatic with a full 12 clip magazine with one in the chamber and another 12 round magazine connected to the holster, and you got a huge blade on your hip. um, I don't know if they're going to come up and want to start trouble with you. I don't think most people would want to do that. And if the cops came up on me or rangers, I won't be breaking any laws. That's what this land's for. Moneygun, intermittent fasting. I do it and I get labeled crazy by fat people. It's so healthy. It's so good for you. Even if you just do the one meal a day, they won't fight you like that. Or even doing 2 meals a day where you kind of get them close together. Like you only eat like kind of average size meals and you eat like just 4 or 5 hours apart. So you have your first meal at, let's say, 12:30, and then you have your next meal at like 5, and then you don't eat any snacks. So you really go into that off autography every I think that's what it's called, where you burn fat and you're constantly allowing your body to spend hours in that area where the body really works on cells that are misperforming, and you have different anomalies and things that need to be repaired. It has that time, and you're burning fat for energy. Yeah, they want one smoke. They won't come at me like that, and it's totally legal to wear firearms where I am. Sell your cloak and buy a sword. Exactly. Sell your cloak and buy a sword. And 2026, buy a gun. Try to stay up in the early morning hours. That's when stuff goes down. Yeah, I can see that. Well, all right, you guys. It's getting kind of cold. It's going to get down to in the 30s tonight. So if I can't make it, if it gets too cold, I'm just going to Denny's. It's open all night. I'll get a cup of coffee and spend hours just drinking my coffee. I'm not going to subject myself to that 2 nights in a row. Man, I paid all day for it. And this guy was telling me it's all in my mind, that I just imagine that. He was saying, when you're in your 50s, you get hot sweats. You wake up sometimes with your muscles quivering. This guy's a lunatic, and it's like, this guy is just jealous because he doesn't have the label of chosen one. He's not comfortable to say that. He doesn't call himself anointed. He just calls himself a Christian. He has 300 subs, and he's envious. You know, I mean, even amongst our own brethren, we have people that just hate on us. Because there's all different levels of gifts and graces that we're able to receive from the Lord. And if they think that you're portraying yourself to have more than them, they want to say you're sus. and they want to look down at you and ridicule you. It's amazing how you can be hated by so many different groups of people. I mean, I'm white, Christian, elderly, not elderly, but staring down the barrel at 60 now that I'm 59. And I'm Catholic. So it's like, and I'm a man, and I'm a man that believes in being old school and keeping his testosterone high and working out and trying to stay in good shape. And that's just like, that's what our society and what our government's pushing for in our culture just hates. I'm inspired, never jealous. Yeah. Yeah, I have this one person in my apartment complex that is so envious. I feel so sorry for the guy. I'll pray for you, my friend. Oh no, don't be worried, because there's nothing to fear but fear itself. As long as you go into a situation with no fear, everything seems to work out okay, especially if you got the Lord. I mean, what do you guys think, though? Was it wrong for me to give up? Should I just keep subjecting myself to this weapon that's used on me all night, every night, and say the Lord will take care of me? I think the Lord expects us to kind of do our part too. Like, because the good Lord, think about when the Israelites were traveling for 40 years in the wilderness. God could have always just gone up against the Canaanites or the Amalekites and whoever and just wiped them out for the people. But no, he asked the people to suit up in armor, to train, and to go there and said, I'll deliver them under your hand. But they had to do their part. And so it's working in collaboration with the Lord. And I suffered all day and felt sick all day and had muscles really acting strange all day. I looked like ish because I only had like 3 hours of sleep. So yeah, I'm kind of trying to help the Lord by spending tonight outside of the apartment. I'm a TI also. The weapons follow us. How can they use the weapon if I'm completely in the middle of nowhere with no one around me? They can't use a weapon on me. Gosh, this guy, for my birthday, though, this guy kind of irritated me because I got one of these notifications saying that this guy mentioned you in a video. And man, it was a 2.5 minute video. And this guy went off on me for 15 minutes saying that I had no relationship with the Lord. And that, you know, yeah, the Lord loves me, but he's going to let them fry my brain. Yeah, that's how the Lord shows me he loves me. And it's like, dude, so many people that have a great relationship with the Lord get sick, have ailments, have bad things happen. The guy is just envy. It's competition because he literally has, I guess, 10% of the amount of subs I have, and he doesn't have any special title other than I'm a Christian. And yeah, there's a lot more levels to this. But, some people are just a little bit more contrary, you might say. There was this guy in my apartment complex named Gary, and I actually started calling him to his face, Gary Contrary. Because everything I would say, it's like, well, that's obvious. A couple people tried to point me out as a know-it-all that always comes from this place of authority and knowing it all, and it's like, whatever. So no matter what I'd say, it'd say, well, that's kind of obvious. Why even bother saying something so obvious? It's like, I thought we were just having a conversation here. I don't know why you gotta be the contrary Gary. I pray and it does nothing. Oh, I'm so sorry. God laughs at my suffering. No, no, that's not the way to think about it. Prayer only helps the wicked ones, torture innocent people. I'm so sorry you feel that way. It literally hurts my heart. Because it's an invitation. Suffering is an invitation from the Lord to become more like him and to suffer with him. So when I was about to go homeless, I was really scared. And I was driving up my last check because I lost my job 4 months before minimum retirement age for not getting the vax. And so I knew I was going to be going homeless because I didn't have enough money to make it. So in the last check, I had the note saying, I'm moving out. This is my last month. And as I drove up there, I got really emotional. And the Lord came upon me, and I felt exactly where he has the slit in his ribs. So, like, right here in the rib cage, like 4 inches, right where he got stabbed, by the soldier, Longinus, to prove that he was dead. And I felt that there, and it was the good Lord inviting me to go through this with him so that we can suffer together. It's a beautiful thing. Really, suffering when you have the Lord in your heart is when he showers you with the most love and draws near. The Lord draws near to the brokenhearted. It says that in more than one place in Scripture. And so I'm sorry you feel that way, but please reconsider. Please reconsider feeling that way. Oh, you were gaslighting me. Oh, okay, good. It's a test. Yeah. Change only comes through struggle. Yeah. Suffering builds perseverance. Perseverance builds character. And character builds hope. That's what Paul tells us. And for those that love the Lord, hope is never left unfulfilled. And so it's the refiner's fire, right? 7 times the gold and the silver would go through the refiner's fire before it became 100% pure. And so we have to go through struggles time and time again because it's making us more Christ-like. It's making us more empathetic. It's making us more loving. The only way you build virtues is by facing the opposite. So the only way you can build love is to be exposed to hate. The only way you can build understanding is being shoved up against people that do not understand you. And that's the way virtues grow. Steph the Seeker has a good channel that popped up on my feed one day. She had an excellent show last night, DH. It was a really, really good one. Everyone was like feeling the Lord and saying, the Lord's with us. This is great. What's your evidence that what I'm saying is not true? Well, now you're confusing me. I thought you said you were gaslighting me. Simp Tom. So symptoms of reality obstructor. What's your evidence? Oh, that God isn't listening to your prayers? Well, I'm not going to be able to talk you into believe anything different. You're on your pathway and your experiences are convincing you of whatever you believe, and that's fine. But the Lord does. I just know. I don't have to know. And, as long as you've been baptized and you've told the Lord that you want him to reside within your heart, he's there. That's all, basically. Have you been baptized? All right, you guys. I'm going to wrap it up. I'm starting to get cold. I got to turn on the engine and get some heat running. I got some potato chips I'm going to eat. Anyways, thank you for joining me. God bless you. Alex, we know. Yes, I'm glad. Take it. Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I should die before I wake it, I pray the Lord my soul to take it. God bless y'all. Have a good night.